Okay, beautiful people. We're here. How we looking? What's the word? How's everyone doing out there? Here, give me a minute to get this microphone set up. Okay, there we are. Okay, here we are. Not bad. Not great, but not bad either. All right, that should work. I'm hoping. I would like to think. Okay. All right, everything seems to be okay at the moment. How's everyone feeling out there? Yeah, I'm sure we don't have any of our regular people in here yet. Actually, a lot of you probably won't tune in until like tomorrow, but that's okay. I just came here to do a comprehensive session, and anyone who has any questions, you could always ask those questions when you watch this in the future, and then we'll reconnect at that point, at some point in the future. So for now, here we are. I'm gonna try not to waste too much time because it's already so late. But I do want to share this out. So I'm going to have to search for myself. Okay, there we are. Not seeing it. Okay, I'm seeing it. There we are. Okay. Hopefully, we're all good. I don't know if I need to check my audio first or not. Hopefully, not. Okay. I'm just going to share this out. Yeah, that seems to be okay. All right. Oh, wow, Dee Dee, how did you make it here? You're saying hi, everyone. Ain't nobody here. I came up here so late, I didn't expect anyone to show up, except for maybe a couple random people from the YouTube feed. But yeah, we're here. This is beautiful. I know it's very late. Hi, everyone. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, this is nice. Should be a good session. I was gonna wait a little while, see if we could get some people to roll in, but like I said, it's so late. I don't want to kill too much time here. But this is going to be a deep session, and I do want to touch on the chakras and Kundalini energy and run through the basics for people. But for everyone out there that's relatively familiar with it, I'd like to get deep down into some of the complexities surrounding these concepts. Am I going to the barbecue? Yes, I'll definitely be at the barbecue. Gen Z is almost 30 years old. Damn. Yes, yes, that's right. That's right. I'm almost 33 years old. So here we are. Life is beautiful. Uh, how's everyone feeling? Stick around if you want to hear about some of these concepts. This is basically going to be a conceptual overview of the journey of awakening that we all take as humans, that we're all still actively on, unless you've reached complete enlightenment in your life, but that's a path that we're all working on. So really, like, if I know I've been in the boat where I felt like I couldn't understand what was wrong with me in life. I know a lot of us get into these issues, these situations of turmoil. You might feel like you're trying really hard to do everything right and you don't understand why things aren't working out. It's almost like the universe is against you. Everything's out of balance no matter how hard you try. And that's something that I think we all can relate to at different points in life. Yo, I don't know what you people are talking about in the comments, but yeah, this is basically a good overview of the chakra systems that might help people find identify what's out of balance in their life, and it might help people bring some balance back into their life. I know understanding these concepts helped me a lot, and they're still continuing to help me every day. Um, so first, like I said, I want to talk about the chakras for beginners. We're just going to go over them real quick. I don't want to bore anyone out there that's already familiar with it, but just to give a brief overview of them, and then as we go through them, I'll give specific examples on how you can identify if those chakras are out of balance and what that looks like in a person. And then I'll give examples of what it looks like in a person when their chakras are imbalanced. And I'll give some specific treatments to help you get that chakra imbalance for that specific one. Even though there's so many, we're just going to get into some of the basic ones tonight. And then we'll talk about Kundalini energy and the serpent flow of divine energy up the spine as it relates to the chakra systems. We will touch on the light sound bridge that I know so many of you are fascinated and probably excited to hear about. And I know that's one of those things that I geeked out on for a while. So I enjoy that. And then we'll get into some really powerful but simple techniques that can help you balance your entire chakra system. Are chakras and auras similar? Yes, they are. And we're going to talk about that. I will talk about the aura once we go through the chakras. We're going to understand how they help to create the aura. The aura is the collection of these chakras. It's the outer resonant frequency of the chakras. And yes, that's something we're going to talk about towards the end there after I give those powerful but simple and even some advanced techniques on how to balance the chakras and the aura. We'll go a little bit more in depth about the aura and resonant frequencies in general, and then maybe we can just dream together about what the future might hold for some of these concepts. You've seen auras before, okay. Didi, you said, I meant the sound is great and the topics are awesome. Oh, you said sounds great. Okay, that's good. Thank you. That's good to know. But yeah, okay, I didn't even see that comment. But yeah, I was referring to the light sound bridge that I've referenced before, and it's something that Terrence Howard. It's what he was talking about. Even though he was speaking about elements on the periodic table of elements, he was still talking about how visuals can be translated from sounds, and the light sound bridge, how you can multiply, supposedly you can multiply the frequency of the sounds by the speed of light and come up with the colors within the visual electromagnetic spectrum. But we're going to get more into that once we get there. Let's cover some of the foundations, some of the basics first. So what is a chakra? The word chakra has its roots in Sanskrit, ancient Sanskrit, and in ancient Sanskrit, it means wheel. It directly translates to wheel. You could think about Ezekiel's wheel that we talked about in the sacred geometry episode, and I'll definitely leave a link to that video in the comments section here when this video is done. I think a lot of people should go search for sacred geometry and the nature of reality under my DK Dreamkeeper page, because that helps clarify a lot of this. And I'm going to touch on that again. We're going to be referencing that quite a bit. But the word the word chakra means wheel. Like I said, you could think about Ezekiel's wheel. It has its roots in Sotana Dharma, but it's also found in Chinese medicine. The concepts for energy centers in the body were also recognized by the ancient Egyptians. And there's also the Navajo and other Native American traditions that talk about medicine wheels or power centers in the body. So these are it's a ubiquitous concept. It's You can find it almost everywhere. It's not really just specific to Hinduism or Buddhism. But and it's described in different ways, but you can see how a lot of these cultures are generally referencing the same thing, whether it's an orb or a vortex, or a circle, or just cycles, or wheels, however you want to look at it. They're energy centers in the body located throughout different parts of the body. Every chakra corresponds with one of the seven main glands that are recognized in biology in the body, and they go up the spine. So it's important to recognize that they don't physically exist. If you dissect the body, you're not going to find a chakra. They're said to exist in within the etheric realm. And the etheric realm is the layer between the physical and the spiritual. Have I heard of Vedic scriptures? Yes, a lot of this comes from Vedic scriptures. That's We're going to be referencing a lot of things from Vedic scriptures here in this conversation. Um, yeah, and you said you've seen auras before. Yeah, I believe that. And the other interesting thing is, like, and I'm not saying that it's always true, but a lot of times when people talk about seeing ghosts as orbs, that could be because they no longer have their physical body, but there's still that aura or just that energetic body that could be floating around. That's a different conversation though. But yeah, um, I would like to do an entire full dream session about auras. I definitely plan on it. I think I think it's a good idea to first talk about the Kundalini and the chakras though, and that'll help us get a good foundational understanding to really conceptualize auras more clearly. So, yeah, I've also heard that chakras, and this is like very imaginative thinking, but I've heard that every chakra is a microscopic black hole located on the body. I actually don't believe that, and that gets into some really, really complex stuff, but it's an interesting thought experiment. Um, you're gonna have to bear with me because I'm a little stuffy right now. 2 out of 3 of the kids are sick, so I might even have to take one of them to the doctor tomorrow, but, I mean, he's okay. He's just been sniffling and coughing, and I hate to send him to school when he's coughing like that. Yeah, so the chakras, like I said, they're just they're powerful energy centers of the body between the physical realm and the spiritual realm, and they're located sequentially up the spine. The Kundalini is known as the primordial divine energy that flows up from the base of the spine. It travels from Mother Nature up to space, or to Father Time, you can say. It is the almost like the vessel or the form of travel that we use spiritually to go through these stages of the chakras and these stages of growth and awakening and these stages of consciousness. Shakti was the divine goddess mother in Hinduism. She was symbolized as a coiled up serpent that is dormant or sleeping at the base of the spine. And w- doing different forms of meditation and Reiki and Ayurvedic practices are said to help awaken that serpent and to help guide it up the spine, or actually it's said that that serpent guides us up the spine or up through the stages of consciousness through these chakras. When we're talking about like stages of consciousness, it might seem really far fetched, especially from the scientific perspective, but what's really interesting is that not only do these chakras, the location of them, which has been written about for thousands of years in ancient texts, those locations correspond with the seven main glands in our body. It's also interesting, they were always said to be located or somewhat aligned with the spinal region going up the spine. And our spine is not just a bunch of interconnected bones. The spine is really the powerhouse for the central nervous system of the body, connecting all of these parts of it together. If you damage certain parts of your spine, it will have a serious effect on other regions of the body. So there's a way that these things are all interconnected that's really synchronistic in my mind. The Kundalini representing the serpent energy that travels up the spine. I think that's a metaphor. It's more than a metaphor, but it's also a metaphor for how we can't understand God without nature, because it starts at the base or the root chakra, which is our groundedness, and then it goes up to the crown chakra, which is our universal or our Christ consciousness. Um, I think there's a lot of correlations there. Also, like Eve eating the fruit, the serpent in the Garden of Eden presenting the fruit to Eve and convincing her to eat it. That could be a metaphor for trying to achieve enlightenment through immoral or unhealthy ways, if you know what I mean. That might be a stretch. Maybe we're already getting too abstract. I don't know. It's interesting to note that in the Old Testament, God did tell Moses to make a bronze serpent and wrap it around a staff, and told Moses that when his people look at this staff, they will be healed. A lot of that is it relates to the healing properties of the chakra, because it's said that because every one of these chakras is connected to major glands and they're major energy centers in our body, when of your body something in your body seems to be going wrong, that's due to an imbalance in the chakra. Whatever ailment you're suffering from in your physical body is a symptom of something that's misaligned or out of balance or blocked in your chakras. So when you have all of your chakras in balance, you have a healthy body and a healthy life, spiritually and physically. Like I said, the Kundalini is what guides our energy up through these chakras, and it's what keeps them balanced and maintains that balance. When when you're fully balanced, I mean, no one is completely balanced all the time unless, like I said, you've reached ultimate enlightenment, and I assume that's the goal here as conscious human beings and as growing spiritual beings. But what, like I said, how God told Moses to make the serpent on the staff, and that his people look at it and they will be healed. And then there's also the staff of Asclepius in Greek mythology, and he was also a medicine god. And our modern depiction of medicine with the Red Cross and with the staff, the serpent around the staff, there's a lot of correlations there. Hermes and Hermeticism with the double serpent around the staff. That's a whole nother conversation. But I just think there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of fascinating synchronicities with all of that. Um, there's said to be lots of chakras throughout the body. Some say 7, some say 8, some say 13, 32. I think I've even heard up to 144. But the main focus here is on the 7 primary chakras. Just like there's 7 primary colors in the light spectrum, doesn't mean that there's only 7 colors. There's in between all of those colors, and then there's different blends of those colors. So just like there's 7 primary chakras and 7 primary colors, there's other subtle chakras and other uh areas of in between the chakras where some of these energies blend, just like on the color spectrum. Every chakra correlates to a color in the same order of the color spectrum that you'll see on a rainbow. And I guess this is a good time to talk about the light sound bridge, because I've heard and seen some things about how you can bridge the frequencies between light and sound. Again, it's similar to when Terrence Howard told Joe Rogan, the same key of E. and it sounds great. And like I said, it's a very fun thought experiment. I've heard that if you multiply the frequency of the 7 main keys in music, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, that's the 7 main keys in music theory. If you multiply the frequency of them by the speed of light, you will end up with the frequencies of the 7 primary colors, and that's called the light sound bridge. I have to throw this out there. Yes, it's a very fun thought, and I know a lot of people, they hear that, and it's something that is gets people like me excited when I heard that. So I had to dive deep into it because I hear a lot of people just throw it out there and mention it. So, but I had to test it for myself. I had to actually look into it. It's fascinating, and if that's completely true, then yeah, sure. But I did the math myself, and then I also went to ChatGPT and 2 other AI assistants to try to help me come to some conclusions here. Bro, let's collab. All right, man. Blue Aura. That's what's up. Okay. Yeah, let's do something, man. Hit me up. Hit me up after the chat or something. I'll always get back to everyone. But yeah, the I try to multiply the frequencies of the 7 keys. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for checking out my page. I appreciate that. That's what's up. Yeah, we could collab, whatever. What do you do? You make music? What or what do you do? I mean, we could like interview, whatever, man. I'm down for whatever. But yeah, so my point is that when I multiplied these things, there was still a huge gap between them. Every When you multiply the frequency of those sounds by the speed of light, you end up with a number that would correlate to a frequency that is way, way below the visible spectrum. And I've left a few comments on some of these people's YouTube videos, and I've been talking to ChatGPT trying to get to the bottom of this. I don't know, am I doing something wrong? If anyone out there sees this and they know or they understand this more than me, please tell me if I'm doing something wrong. But when you multiply those frequencies by the speed of light, like I said, you get numbers that are well below the visible spectrum, the visible electromagnetic spectrum. So I kept trying and trying and trying and trying and was coming nowhere near the numbers that you would need. So what the actual answer is, if you multiply those 7 keys by the speed of light, what was it? I'm sorry. 900 about 909 billion times, then you will end up in the visible spectrum. So it's such a huge gap between those frequencies, and we're talking about frequencies in different mediums here, so it's still, but if you were to try to make that connection, that's the only way to do it. And then the other argument I was thinking is that, yeah, bro, of course, sorry to interrupt your lecture. No, it's cool, man. You work in the arts, pretty radical in my chaos, but it's ordered enough, and I feel I want to unify my chaos. Oh, I want to unify my network of wisdom with other great artists. That's what's up, man. This is alignment. Yeah. No, thank you. Definitely. Hit me up. Didi, you said also the chakras correspond to the elements of nature. Yes, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Muldahara, the earth. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I got that. It's in my notes here. Thank you, Didi. But I'm just stuck on this light sound bridge here for a second because that really fascinated me, but it's not what a lot of people think it is. My other argument was that, you know how they say they switched the under the frequency of music, the key frequencies from 432 hertz to 440 hertz, and there's a lot of conspiracies behind that. I don't want to get too deep into that. My point was that I also tried to multiply the frequency of those sounds based on the 432 hertz by the speed of light, and still didn't come up anywhere close. For those, you'd have to multiply those frequencies by the speed of light about 923 billion times to come up with a result or some values that are within the visible electromagnetic spectrum. So, sorry, but I just had to. I just had to. But yes, the I think the important thing and the fascinating thing and the most important aspect to realize is that there are 7 primary colors within our visible spectrum. There are 7 primary chakras that are recognized. There's you also have every one of these chakras can correspond with one of the 7 deadly sins and also the 7 virtues that counteract the sins. It's fascinating. Like, we'll talk about it as you go through the root from the root to the crown chakra, you'll see how the root chakra can correspond with lust, one of the 7 deadly sins, or one of the 7 virtues. The counter the counterpart to lust is chastity, and the second one, the second chakra, gluttony and temperance, they all correspond really well. That's something that does actually line up, and I went through all of that, and it actually does make sense. Believe me, I would tell you if it didn't. Excuse me. So the 7 deadly sins and the 7 virtues do correspond with the 7 chakras. I thought that was fascinating. Excuse me. I'm sorry. You also have the 7 seals in Christian revelation. Can't forget about those. The 7 primary planets in astrology. And my point here is not to I don't want to geek out completely on the synchronicities between the number 7 here, and this is not a course on numerology, and we could definitely talk about that another day. And I'm well aware of the human mind's desire to make connections where there are none, and we're going to talk about that. That's rooted in one of the chakras, but yeah, there are 7 primary planets recognized in astrology. We have the 7 days of the week, the 7 ancient wonders of the world, the 7 sacred sites. Various cultures have 7 sacred sites or paths of pilgrimage that they have to go to for enlightenment. That's a whole nother conversation. You can think about the 7 major world religions, the 7 elements in alchemy, and before someone tries to correct me on that, there's the 4 classical elements: earth, air, fire, water. But then you have the 3 primary substances in alchemy: salt, sulfur, and mercury. So that brings you with 7 key elements in alchemy. There's also Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, basic human needs. There's the 7 basic human needs. Each one of those corresponds with the chakras. We could talk about that again in another dream session. That gets really deep, and I have a bunch of notes here that I don't want to waste. But this session is going to be way too long if we really try to dissect every single piece of it. Correlated to the senses also, yes, and we will talk about some of the senses. Yes, there's the 7 faces of God in the Kabbalah also really directly relate to these chakras, and that's something that's actually been, intentionally cross-referenced for many years now. There's the 7 continents, and then some say of course, it's a lot more complicated than this, but people talk about how it takes 7 years for every cell in the human body to renew itself. I think that's really interesting. And there's the 7 stages of human development that are recognized in sociology. Infancy, early childhood, middle childhood, adolescence, early adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood. Those are the 7 stages of human growth. And each one of these chakras corresponds with those directly, very, very well. There's 7 principles of Huna in Hawaiian philosophy. There's Howard Gardner's theory on the 7 types of human intelligence. That's also a very fascinating book to read about, and just there's probably videos out there about it. Very, very interesting. We could go through the stages of those for anyone that's more interested, and I will have references and stuff for anyone that wants any of my sources for any of this. Um, Very, very important to note that there's 7 circles in the seed of life, and we talked about that in the sacred geometry video. Again, for anyone that hasn't seen that, I highly recommend you go back, check out the video on sacred geometry and the nature of reality, because that really helps connect some of these dots. But yeah, if you think about it, the 7 circles in the seed of life, that's directly relates to the 7 chakras. Very, very fascinating. But like I said, there's more than 7 chakras. There's more than 7 colors. These things blend together, and they also, once they interact with each other in different ways through resonant frequencies. So, let's talk about the first chakra, the root chakra, Muladhara chakra. That corresponds with the color red. The root chakra is said to be red, and that's located at the base of the spine. And that's supposed to be associated with groundedness and personal survival. This is personal wisdom, physical sustenance. When you're in the root chakra or working through the root chakra, or when only your root chakra is activated, there's that sense of only personal survival. You can't really think too much or perceive too much outside of yourself. It is the chakra that we develop the most in the earliest stages of our life as an infant, when all you can really worry about is your own personal survival, because you can't do anything if you can't even survive yourself. So that is the first stage, and that's associated with being grounded and having your foundation for yourself, for, like I said, your own personal physical sustenance and survival. It's a lot more than that too, but again, we can't talk too much, because every single chakra could have its own individual hour-long session that we could talk about. But just for like some simple practical understandings of these things, if someone has an overactive root chakra, it usually manifests in their life as being personally greedy or hoarding a lot. Uh, just someone that's completely selfish, completely self-centered, and just way too safe. That's another way that, even if they're not, like, they don't seem to be selfish, but if someone is just overly cautious with things and way, way, way too safe and always trying to have more backups than they need, uh, never taking any type of risks, they're someone who their root chakra is most likely overactive. That means it's out of balance. It is overactive, but your chakras can also be blocked, some would say deactivated, or I would say they're just underactive. You can have an overactive or an underactive chakra, and there will be symptoms in your life to show this, to show these things. An underactive chakra would be like someone who doesn't take care of themselves at all. They don't care about personal hygiene. You see how this is still rooted in self-development and, personal survival in a way. Those are the type of people that have really bad diets and don't care about it. They could be very reckless. They don't really care about their personal safety too much. They don't really take any precautions. That means that their root chakra is underactive. It's not even active enough for them to try to take care of themselves or survive. So when it's overactive, you're greedy and selfish. When it's underactive, you're kind of careless for yourself. And someone who has a well balanced and healthy, active root chakra will seem to have a well balanced life in other ways. They'll be more generous, they'll be able to be more generous, they'll have more safe practices in their life. They won't be too cautious or too careless. Black Diamond, Taxi, and Limo. There are energy healers like myself that can help with the chakra system. Yeah, man, we're gonna talk about that. I with every one of these individual ones, I'm gonna give people tips on how to heal that individual chakra personally, things that they can do at home. And towards the end, I'm gonna get really deep into some of the other healing methods for chakras in general. And one of them will be to address a practitioner like you, someone who practices Ayurveda or Reiki or even yoga. But yeah, we'll get into that. Thank you, Didi. Yeah, yeah, Black Diamond, Taxi and Limo. Yeah, that's great. And I think people like you are necessary. Um, so yeah, like I said, but I want to give simple, practical tips that people can try by themselves to help heal these individual chakras. And then towards the end, we'll get into some of the more powerful tips to help balance them in general. But yeah, one treatment for your root chakra, one way to help get your root chakra back into balance is to just be in nature because the root chakra is associated with being grounded. So, especially like walking barefoot in nature or just sitting in nature and experiencing it during the daytime, that can be really, really powerful. At nighttime, it's a different thing. We'll get into that. But you said angels have shown you how to heal. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. Walking in nature is a great treatment for the root chakra, hiking, things like that. Then after the root chakra, the root chakra is basically located along the bottom 3 vertebrae of the spine. Just above that is the sacral chakra, Svadhisthana, I think, in Hinduism. That's orange. So the root chakra is red, the sacral chakra is orange. We're going along the color spectrum here. And that's also, it's around the navel area, basically where your sexual organs are located. um it's just above the first 3 vertebrae of the spine, and that's associated with the element water. I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but the root chakra is associated with the earth element, and so the sacral chakra is associated with the water element generally. And that is responsible for our sexual energy, our reproductive energy, survival of our species, whereas the root chakra was like personal survival. Once you go up from that to the sacral chakra, you get more into the tribal survival, the species survival. You could think just outside, just beyond yourself at that point. Um, it's also responsible for creation and creativity and like family wisdom. So it's not personal wisdom, but it's tribal wisdom that's spread amongst groups. Um, One way to tell someone, or if you yourself have an overactive chakra in this area, if your sacral chakra is way too overactive, those are people that are usually addicted to porn or just addicted to sex addicts, people that do a lot of cheating on their partner. They could also, and it doesn't just have to be sexual in that sense, but it could be the type of person that will join any type of tribe or any type of group. They easily cling on to a group of people because they're trying so hard to find that tribal connection, which goes along with the survival of the species thing. Um, these people can be blinded by their loyalty to a person or to a group. They would also tend to be overprotective in a relationship, if that makes sense. Because this is it correlates with their sexual organs, and if you have a relationship with someone and that chakra is overactive, you're going to be overprotective of that person. You might be even be overprotective of your group or your tribe, whether it's your country, your college football team, uh, your work crew, your gang, or your clique, or whoever. These people easily associate with a group and are usually blinded by their loyalty if that chakra is overactive. Uh, when the chakra is underactive, that's when people don't have a desire for sex, which does happen to people. Or those people might feel like it might be someone that feels like they don't belong to any group and they don't fit in with any type of tribe at all. That might be because their sacral chakra is not active enough. Um, they're the type of person that doesn't even really care if their partner cheats. So like if it's overactive, then they might be overprotective of that partner. But if it's underactive, they might kind of be apathetic towards what their partner does with other people. There's no sense of tribal survival or survival of the species. They don't really think about that or care about that. The type of people that don't even want to have kids, not because they can't or anything, because they really don't care to even continue the survival of their species. It's not something that seems to be ingrained in them. That's because their sacral chakra is mostly not active enough. So they're either way, the chakra is out of balance with any of those symptoms. So when you know whether or not you have a balanced sacral chakra, if you have a healthy sex life, if you don't have the shame or the guilt that's surrounding sex, or even someone that masturbates to porn or something afterwards, you don't get the best feeling. I mean, maybe once in a while you do, and I mean, we can't judge anyone, and there could be healthy practices, everything in moderation. But my point is that when you're healthy in this aspect, you don't really feel the need to do these things too much, and you don't feel the shame or the guilt that surrounds them. You can do them in a healthy way. Uh, if you seem to have an imbalance in your sacral chakra, one great way to help treat that is to expose yourself to water, because it's associated with the water element. So when you're swimming or you're floating or you're bathing, these things can really help to bring that back in alignment when you get that feeling of unity with the water. And I mean, a lot generally, I would say just like self-discipline, practicing self-discipline would really help, because that chakra is associated with personal discipline. But the next chakra, the third one up, is the solar plexus chakra, Manipura, known as in Hinduism, and that's associated with the color yellow. It's basically just above the belly button, located generally, and when that chakra is overactive, that will manifest itself as honestly a lot of stomach problems, a lot of digestive issues in general, and like that anxiety that people get in their gut, that could be from a an imbalance in this chakra, in the solar plexus chakra. um they're also the type of people that will trust people too easily, because this chakra is associated with inner wisdom and intuition and gut feelings, and personal willpower. This is that all these things are associated with the solar plexus chakra, and that's why, like, the idea of gut feelings is pretty much universal across lots and lots of different cultures. They talk about getting these intuitive feelings in their gut. So the solar plexus chakra is associated with gut feelings and personal intuition and inner wisdom. But, like I said, when it's overactive, that means, that usually manifests itself as, like, you might trust people too easily. You're not you don't have that intuition really to judge someone clearly at all, but you just automatically give everyone your trust, and you're too open with that. And also, just like I said, anxiety, stomach problems in general. And then if it's underactive, if that chakra is not active enough, that can manifest itself as just being a bad judge of character, where you don't make good judgments about people at all. You don't even have any you don't have any intuitive feelings about people enough to make any reasonable judgments about them. And also, if it's underactive, you those are the type of people that will have a lot of negative self-judgment as well. They don't have the intuition or the understanding to even appreciate themselves enough usually. Um, a person that's balanced in that area, they usually you can tell that they value themselves, they're a good judge of character, and they're someone that seems intuitive. So when we talk about a person who's intuitive, or if you feel like you know something that's going to happen, and then those things do end up happening, that means that you're probably well aligned with your sacral chakra. Some good treatments for that, some good ways to help balance that chakra is to practice diaphragm breathing. It's where you breathe in and you expand your diaphragm. You breathe out and you retract your diaphragm. That's there's a million YouTube videos about that. Really interesting. Diaphragm breathing is powerful. Uh, yeah, I don't think I mentioned the solar plexus chakra is associated with the fire element. So a great way to help balance that chakra, honestly, is to stare into flames and just burning things. There's a lot of different therapies surrounding burning, and a lot of symbolism around burning different things in different ways. But because the solar plexus chakra is associated with the element fire, there's fire burning, and it doesn't have to be like an arson. It doesn't have to be crazy here. We're not talking about devilish things. This is it can be a healthy, powerful practice, whether you're burning incense or burning herbs, or lots of different ways to approach that, or burning a note that you wrote to yourself, things like that, or a note that you wrote to the universe. Those types of things can be treatment for the solar plexus chakra. Then just above the stomach, the next chakra is the heart chakra. Anahata, it's known as in Sanskrit, and that's associated with the color green. So after yellow in the color spectrum, you have green. Yes, the heart chakra is not associated with the color red. That's the root. But it's associated with green in the same way that we associate green with life, nature, uh, love, obviously. It is the emotional center. The heart chakra is the emotional center. And it's associated with the air element. It regulates your emotions, your spiritually, and from the spiritual to the physical. When the heart chakra is overactive, that's the type of person that loves too easily. They might be too easily willing to give all of their love to the wrong person or the wrong thing. Doesn't just have to be a person, it could be a concept, it could be anything. Someone could fall in love with something too easily and give too much love to that. That's if their heart chakra is overactive. When it's underactive, that's usually the type of person that doesn't know how to love someone, and they usually have a lot of negative self-perceptions because they don't even know how to love themselves. I think most of us have either been there, or we know someone that's like that, that even doesn't seem to have the capacity to really show love to others, or to even show love to themselves. I know I personally have been there, and I've seen that. Usually, when someone's balanced, when they have a healthy, balanced heart chakra, that's usually you can usually see that reflected in their healthy relationships with others, and they're usually the type of person that will use love to build instead of trying to destroy. And we've seen, I'm sure we've all witnessed relationships and situations with people where they have a lot of love and passion, but it turns into a destructive force rather than a productive force. So, someone who is well balanced in their heart chakra will use that love to build productively. Some treatments, if your heart chakra seems to be out of balance, some great ways to help that is to adopt or get some type of pet. When you have pets and you show love to these pets, that's a great way to build emotional connections and help open or balance that heart chakra. And even if it's not just pets, but like taking care of animals in general, or even like taking care of your plants and loving your plants emotionally, sharing emotions with these living things from nature is a great way to build or open or balance that heart chakra. Didi, you said Manapura is also corresponding to control and fascination. Yes. Yeah, I mean we can yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of these they all correspond to so many things. But yeah, you're right. It's a good one to throw in there. Fire is fascinating. Yes, yes it is. Um yeah, fire is fascinating. I'm sorry. Like I was saying, some great treatments for the heart chakra besides taking care of animals or pets or plants or just like helping other people in general through love. Also like cardio workouts obviously are great. You know, when you if you can work up some heavy breaths and do some cardio workouts, that's just a great way to help balance the heart chakra. Um Next above the heart chakra is the throat chakra. Uh, Vishuddha chakra is known as in Hinduism, and that corresponds with the color blue. And this is where we get into some of the higher elements. So the lower chakras are associated with the four basic elements that we recognize. The higher chakras are associated with higher level elements that are recognized. So the throat chakra is associated with space or outer space, which is not the universe. There's a difference. The universe contains the planets and all energies within that space plus the space. But when we're talking about the throat chakra, it corresponds with space, the 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 space in between the bodies. And it's associated with communication, the translation of your thoughts and your emotions. Now, your thoughts generally come from the crown chakra. Those emotions come from the heart chakra. The throat chakra helps to translate these things and externalize them in ways that can build connections with others. It's associated with. It's also known as the purification center, and that's because you can speak your truth, and that's how you bring purity to your life and to the universe around you, is to speak your truth, to translate your truth, to bring what's dark to the light, to clarify misperceptions. That's why it's the purification center. There's no purity in falsehood. So it's the throat chakra is all about speaking and listening, communicating. It translates thoughts both ways. So it's responsible for visions of the past, present, and the future. And Dee Dee, thank you for that little nugget there. We will talk more about tachyons in the future and time travel and dream premonitions and the probability of them being true. And we will definitely bring some clarity to all of that. So anybody watching this now that's interested, stay tuned. We do these dream sessions every single week, and we're going to talk about some more of that in the future because it's definitely historically documented that people have told the future in their dreams, and whether or not it's just by coincidence, we can get into that. But yeah, the throat chakra is associated with visions of the past, present, and the future. Tachyons are a scientific concept in astrophysics and quantum physics that supposedly can travel forwards and backwards in time. They travel faster than the speed of light, and they might be the key to unlocking the mysteries of time and Einstein's relativity. So stay tuned, people, because there's going to be a lot more on that in the future. But this session, how long we've been going so far? Almost an hour. Yeah. Okay. Anyone who's still with me, definitely let me know in the comments section how we doing. Anyone who's interested in this, give me a thumbs up. Follow my page. Remember to search D.K space dream space keeper on any platform. Uh, Black Diamond, you said it's very cool to hear about time travel. Yeah, that will definitely be a future session, man. There's a lot to explore there. I did a brief overview of that last week. I think it was last week's dream session. We talked about tachyons and time travel briefly, but we will definitely get more into the details on that in the future. I'm excited for that session. Amber and the Beasties. What's up, Amber? That's cool. So yeah, so where was I? The throat chakra, the purification center for speaking and communication. Obviously, when that chakra is overactive, that would manifest itself as someone who talks way too much, and we all know someone like that. The type of person that gossips all the time. They also might lie all the time, habitual liars. They have a way overactive throat chakra. Even just someone with bad communication skills in general. They might talk a lot, but they might not be saying much. They might have trouble translating their thoughts clearly for people to understand. Uh, the type of person that can't keep a secret. They talk way too much. That means their throat chakra is overactive. You're new to the page. Definitely enjoying your time. Thank you, and I appreciate your time, and I really do. There's so much to talk about. So much. I've been doing this for going on 2 years now, so it's been a lot that we've explored. But I'm really starting to learn how to focus these sessions more coherently, and it's been quite a journey so far, and we still have so far to go. So there's so much to learn, and I bring other people on just so you know for the future. Like I sometimes we'll do interviews with people much more advanced than me on some of these topics, some people that aren't quite as advanced as me, whatever, and everything in between. So it's all fun. It's all about exploration and increasing consciousness, man. It really is. Or I don't mean to call you man. I'm not sure if you're male or female, but yeah. Um Yeah, so yeah, that's so someone with an overactive throat chakra, obviously they talk too much. Someone and they lie a lot. Someone with a underactive throat chakra, that's the type of person that can't speak up for themselves. They don't really know how to stand their ground or speak their truth. They're the type of person that has no communication skills at all, and they're not good at attempting it. And they might even be the type of person that keeps too many secrets. Like I said, they don't know how to speak their truth. They don't know how to translate that externally. That means that their throat chakra is most likely underactive, not active enough. Someone with a well-balanced throat chakra will be able to speak their truth clearly and coherently. They're able to convey their messages and they can translate their emotions and their thoughts effectively. So, and I think we've all seen, we know people that fit every single one of those categories. I know I do. Some some good effective treatments for the throat chakra is to just practice mantras. There's a bunch of now there's different mantras to help balance every single chakra. We'll talk about that towards the end, but mantras in general, using your voice in that way in general is a great way to help activate or balance your throat chakra. Also singing, really singing is and I don't sing and I'm not a good singer, but once in a while when I do, if I put it in one of my songs or something, that's why I like to make music. I like to rap. These things, these vocal expressions are a great way to find balance with the throat chakra. Also, talking to someone, having healthy conversations with someone that you're comfortable with, that will help you balance and open your throat chakra. Didi, I'm glad you got me online too. I'm glad you caught this. That's weird. You're the last person I would have expected. It's a Sunday night and I was way, way, way late, but thank you for joining. All of your information is appreciated. And yeah, another great way to help balance or open your throat chakra is through prayer. Honestly, prayer helps heal the throat chakra. Whether you're praying to a god or you're praying to the universe or you're praying to whatever higher consciousness doesn't really matter, but speaking these deeper desires and bringing them out of you and translating those thoughts and emotions into words is a healthy practice for the throat chakra. Obviously, it's a healthy healing practice in general, and depending on what you're praying about and what you're saying that can also help heal other chakras. But in general, just healthy spoken word, self expression, verbal expression, even journaling, even writing your thoughts in a journal or a diary, because you're still translating these things and that's still manifested through the throat chakra. And like laughing, just laughing, they say laughter is the best medicine. It really can be. And I mean, that's scientifically accurate too, because of the endorphins and the dopamines that are produced when you're laughing. But it's a great way to balance and release some of the built up uh, negative energies in the throat chakra. Laughing is very powerful. Excuse me. I'm all stuffed up. I'm messed up. My throat. I woke up this morning with a sore throat, actually. So there might be a slight imbalance in my throat chakra right now that I need to work out here. I think that's why this video was necessary for me. I was really anticipating this. I've been excited about this. Can't wait to edit this one. This one's going to be great when I add visuals to this and I cut out like all the talking in between and stuff. This edited video is going to be great. I'm going to add a lot of great great visuals and graphics to help people understand these things more clearly. But yeah, that's the throat chakra. Next we have the third eye chakra. And every Thursday, I do a third eye Thursday post about the third eye chakra or the pineal gland, sometimes argued as the pituitary gland. We're not here to get into the arguments of the details of all of that. It's generally recognized as the pineal gland, and like I said, these things overlap, and there's not like a black and white in between everything, every one of these chakras. They're blended together, just like the colors of the rainbow, and they can be blended just like color palettes. So, before, like someone might think that, between the pituitary and the pineal gland, that's a different argument, but generally, the third eye or the ajna chakra, it's associated with the color indigo, and it is associated with light and soul. It's known as the seat of the soul. Actually, the pineal gland in general, which is located just a little bit back inside of the brain here, right here. That's where the third eye, the pineal gland is, also known as the seat of the soul, associated with light. And what's interesting is that, again, this has been written about for thousands of years in ancient texts, and that the third eye was associated with light. Uh, Nowadays, scientists know that the pineal gland is sensitive to light. Now, it doesn't have photoreceptors in the same way that our eyeballs do, but it does have a cellular response to light through the eyes. So somehow that's one of the main reasons why it's still considered the third eye to this day, is because all of those the mythology around it holds so true. So that the third eye chakra is associated with higher wisdom beyond earthly wisdom, knowledge of self, not higher wisdom to the point of God consciousness, but self consciousness. Just like the root chakra is associated with the first level of self consciousness, just like a baby, the first stages of life, an infant, they're you could say they're acutely aware of themselves. They're vaguely aware of themselves, I guess. They know that they exist. They respond to external stimulus. Obviously, they recognize that they're an individual entity, but they don't really even know what that means. So once you get up towards the third eye chakra and you grow in life and you grow through these energetic systems, that's when you build a higher awareness of self-consciousness and knowledge of self. It's also what holds the key to our imagination and our core beliefs of ourself, about ourself, and our self identities. Um, our aspirations, our spiritual identity as a spirit, not as a collective unity, but as a spirit. The third eye holds the spiritual identity. Um, when the third eye chakra is overactive, that will usually you'll see that as the type of person that thinks they have the answer to everything. They might be the type of person that makes too many connections between things. The type of person that lives in a delusional alternate reality, someone that uses too much imagination. It's when the it can become detrimental, when you're literally just being delusional. And again, sure, we all know some people like that, or have known some people like that. They're the type of person that will believe almost anything. They'll almost make a connection between anything in any way. They'll spiritually identify with almost anything easily, without really looking at the more complex angles of it. They're also usually like the religious extremists, because their third eye is overactive. They're finding a sense of identity and connection with this concept. And if you look at something long enough, you will find ways to connect it with something else, no matter what. So if their third eye is overactive and they go down this rabbit hole, those are the type of people that turn into religious extremists and things like that. They think they found the ultimate answers because they've made a few obscure connections that seem to be very specific to them. Um, because the third eye is associated with pattern recognition and more. There's some arguments with all of this, but the third eye is generally associated with more intellectual thoughts as well. So, and connecting those type of dots. But when you start to recognize too many patterns and too many things, that means your third eye is probably overactive. Someone with an underactive third eye, they're the type of people that will find problems with everything, or they won't see any solutions to things. Everything seems hopeless to them. Whereas an overactive third eye, these people are delusional to think they have the answer to everything. An underactive third eye is these people are delusional to think that they have no answers to anything. They usually can't see beyond the obvious, or they can't see beyond the wall that's right in front of them to find the answer that's right beyond it, because their third eye is not active enough. Um, they might be the type of atheist that doesn't find a spiritual connection with anything. When you if you meet someone that has a well balanced or a healthy active third eye chakra, they're usually the type of people that see the bigger picture in things, those beautiful souls that we admire that can step back and objectively observe a situation and usually give you a snapshot of what the bigger picture of something seems like. Those are people that are really in touch with their third eye chakra. They can bring a healthy, broad perspective to things. It could also be a person that has a very strong, powerful imagination. Not in a delusional sense, but just, imagination can be powerful and beautiful. So those are the type of people that have a well-balanced third eye chakra. Some treatments, if it feels like your third eye chakra is out of balance, if any of those things I just explained about being overactive or underactive, if those things apply to you, then some ways you can help that is to do visualization practices in general. And I have a bunch of them on my page. For a while, I was making tips on how to visualize. Those things can really help you to stimulate and balance your third eye chakra. You can also just look up visualization meditation practices on YouTube. There's probably a bunch that are great. But also, if you're reading creative writings, reading creative poetry or stories, that's a great way to stimulate and activate the third eye chakra. There's a lot, I made a video about it, but lots of people talk about the calcification of the pineal gland. And this is literally when calcium builds up in there, and there's ways to decalcify the pineal gland based on your diet and different practices. Stop using fluoride toothpaste and stop drinking water with fluoride in it and things like that. But some people they're not really gonna identify with that. So because pineal gland does have cells in it that are sensitive to light and they react and respond to light. One great way to balance or open up the third eye chakra is to go sun gazing, or it's just sunbathing, when you're laying in the sun, tanning. That's stimulating and helping to activate and regenerate your third eye chakra. Because again, these things are all in correspondence with light, and uh, you know, resonant frequencies from external light can have a direct effect on these. So, sun gazing, and that might sound crazy, but for anyone that's not familiar with it, it's been practiced for thousands of years. It's very popular in various cultures to gaze at the sun during the sunrise or the sunset. Obviously, we know you can't just look at the naked sun in the sky. You'll burn your eyes. But it's very healthy, and that's why I really think like it's an innate property in us as humans to enjoy the sunsets and the sunrise. And it's not just visually stunning and beautiful, but it's also a great way to give some healthy light to the pineal gland and activate or balance that chakra, the third eye chakra. Yeah, I think that's very, very powerful. Sun gazing, sunbathing, different visualization practices, and then also like painting and drawing is another great way. Then after the third eye chakra, the last one we're going to talk about in depth here for tonight at least is the crown chakra, located towards the top of the head, just above the third eye chakra. This is associated with transcendence, and higher levels of understanding beyond the self. This is associated with universal identity instead of personal identity of the spirit. It's the connection to the God or the universe, or what some would consider Christ consciousness. And you can also think about Christ with the halo, the ring of light around his head. The color for the crown chakra is violet. Oh, I'm sorry. It's getting late here. Uh, yeah, so if you notice as you go through these chakras, they correspond with the light spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Where the crown chakra is where you reach the violet. And someone with an overactive crown chakra, that would look like someone who, I would say, like one of those gurus out there who want everyone to think that they've reached enlightenment when most of the time you can clearly tell that they haven't. And I can't be alone in that. When you see some of these people, it's hard to take them seriously. Not all of them, but there's definitely some of those out there, these holier than thou type of gurus out there that think that they're some sort of something more special than anyone else. Yeah, someone with an overactive crown chakra, they usually have like a superiority complex. Someone with a underactive crown chakra, that's the type of person that seems like they just feel empty all the time. They're usually cynical and pessimistic about life and the world in general. They might have trouble concentrating on things, and some great treatments for that, if you suffer from any of those things, are to go stargazing, not sun gazing, but stargazing. Go out at night and look up at these stars in the sky. Just observing the night sky in general, because the crown chakra, like I said, that is what's supposed to connect us with the source consciousness, the universe, not space, but the entire universe. Whereas the root chakra is what keeps us grounded, the crown chakra keeps us elevated. And it's about having a healthy flow and connection between the two using the Kundalini energy that we talked about. Um, yeah, so some more like general treatments for the chakras in general, just some good broad treatments to help balance and align all of your chakras are like using sound, different types of sound, different types of music. You can literally look up specific frequencies that are supposed to resonate with these chakras and help balance them. You can also, like, Tibetan sound bowls are a beautiful, amazing thing. And this isn't just a bunch of wild nonsense. Like, resonant frequencies are a real thing. If you play two frequencies next to each other, the way that they affect each other is directly measurable. And since we all vibrate at certain frequencies and different parts of us vibrate at different frequencies, and our thoughts have frequencies and our emotions cause changes in frequency, the sounds can directly affect our frequency, which will in turn affect our chakras. There's a bunch of different meditations out there for healing and balancing your chakras. You could look them up anywhere. You could get guided meditations, visualization meditations, and there's different ways through dream therapy, which we'll talk about more in the future, to help heal these chakras. And then just like practicing yoga, different physical poses and different healthy stretches is a great way to balance your chakras and your Kundalini energy. And then, like I mentioned before, Reiki practitioners, these are people who have trained themselves, from what they say, to be able to see these energetic centers in the body, these chakras, and the aura. And they're supposed to be able to bring awareness to these things, and they're supposed to be able to channel their own energy through this etheric realm to your body to help heal these or balance these chakras. Reiki practice is I think it's a really beautiful thing. There's also Ayurveda, and that's these are, I don't know how many of these we want to get into here. We got a bunch. Other ways to heal the chakras: food, again through resonant frequencies, because light and colors are frequency, sound is frequency, our bodies vibrate at frequencies, our chakras are frequency. Eating colors with Eating foods with certain colors can have an effect on these chakras. So at least that's what a lot of them say. You eat red tomatoes, it's gonna help your root chakra, supposedly. You can also think about the fact that eating healthy greens is good for the heart, and the color green is what corresponds with the heart chakra. So there's a lot to that. That's a deep dive that I don't really have time to go down tonight, but definitely something worth noting. And just pay attention to your diet, and if you seem to have an imbalance in one of these chakras, figure out what the corresponding color is, and then try to consume foods or drinks that are that same color to help bring it back into balance. And let me know how that works for you. I'm curious. I've heard a lot of great stories about that, actually. Anecdotal, but still fascinating. There's Black Diamond, you said light will transmute really quick. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes, it does. Yeah, and then there's also, besides colors, like the color of food could also be the colors that you wear. Someone who or the color of your room and the color of your bed sheets. And I know there's that dude Jordan who makes those spirit science videos, and he talked about how all of his chakras seem to be closed or not active enough, except for his throat chakra. He seemed to have an overly active throat chakra, and he claimed that that was because of his room being painted blue, and all of his bed sheets and his pillowcases were all blue. So he was surrounded by that color all the time, and it caused him to have an overactive throat chakra. I think it's an interesting thought, at least, and that's why I've also one of the reasons I've become interested in making my own gear, not only because I can source it from responsible materials and sustainable materials, but because I can specifically design these pieces of clothing to help balance some of these chakras in ways if I wanted to. And I do have some designs out there that should help people, and I have more that I haven't published yet in the shop. I still need to do some fine tuning with that. I need to get rid of some of the old stuff on my shop and put up some of these new things. I do have hoodies that I'll be putting out soon that have all of the chakras with the sacred geometric symbol, the one of the one of the platonic solids plus the Metatron's cube, and it goes up, and each one of them lines up with the chakras going up the back, and then the third eye and the crown chakra are on the hood of the hoodie. So I'm working on that. Everyone, check out D.K space Dream Space Keeper on Etsy. I think you can search for it on Etsy. You can find my merchandise. If you go to my page, you could definitely find a link to my merchandise. That's where I get these hats. I got these mugs up there, these Dreamkeeper mugs, all different types of designs. And if anyone has an issue with one of their chakras and they would like me to make some sort of design, whether it's a shirt or a blanket or a hat, a beanie, a hoodie, a jacket, shorts, underwears, PJs, pajama pants, I can custom design any of those things and add any type of designs and colors that you guys would like. If you're having an issue in an area and you want to see if this could help fix it. Um, then there's also gemstones and crystals. They have different colors that will correspond with your chakras, and that's an entire other episode we would have to do about the power of gemstones and crystals. I have this obsidian quartz around my neck. This is not just like it's not just a yin yang, and it ain't no plastic. It's an obsidian. These are gemstones, and they have power based on their cellular structure, their atomic structure, and their colors. So they can, you find the right crystal that matches the color of that chakra, and you can either hold on to it, put it under your pillow, put it in your pocket, keep it around you in some way, or you can do specific practices with it, with these gemstones and these crystals to help heal your chakras or balance them. So that might be just about it. I didn't mention, but we will have to talk about in the future how all of these chakras together cause your aura. That is what creates your aura. It's the collection of these chakras. Just like when I was talking about the seed of life consists of those 7 circles, it's the six circles, and then you surround those circles by one bigger circle around them. And in a 3D version, that would be an orb, and that is the orb that surrounds our bodies. And this is measurable. Everyone has a measurable frequency. Some I know the Institute of Heart Math alone can measure the frequency of the heart for up to 3 meters away from the body. They still have strong measurable signals. So yes, the aura is the energetic field surrounding the body, and it can change colors and it can contain multiple colors depending on which of your chakras are open the most. And that's what will determine the the color of your aura. And that's bright white light contains all colors. So if you have a white aura, you have well balanced chakras. Any one of those that's out of balance will show itself in the color of your aura. So yeah, and the aura flows in the shape of the torus or the toroidal flow, and it goes from bottom to top and then externally from top to bottom, which is also the flow of the Kundalini energy. And I will do an entire video about the toroidal flow of energy in the future because it's also found with the electromagnetic flow around the earth. And that is completely 100% scientifically based that and measurable. So not just with the human body, but also with these these outer bodies, these celestial bodies also have their own auras, and we'll definitely do an entire session about that in the future. For now, I don't know if anyone has any questions. I do have a bunch of resources and links and stuff I will share in the comment section of this video once it gets posted, because live comments go away after I close out the live video. But yeah, I'll be doing. I do these sessions every week, once a week. Right now, I'm looking at Sunday nights for a while. Hopefully, I can switch that to Saturday nights eventually. But for now, this is what it is. And it's always great to have you guys join in the discussion in the comment section. I appreciate all of you. Yeah, yo, Black Diamond, thank you. Definitely hit me up in the future. Yo, find me on, well, I don't know what socials you got, but you can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X, any of that. I don't really go on the other ones much, but definitely hit me up either on here or on Facebook, or you could even email me, dkinfinite@gmail.com. Hit me up. I would like to, I'm definitely trying to build these dreamscapes with other people. So it's definitely good to make these connections with other people and build on that. This I feel like there's definitely a rising consciousness, and I feel like there's a Kundalini force in our society right now that is definitely increasing our awareness and our consciousness. And I think it's been going on for at least 13,000 years, if not longer. So, we're here and, we're a part of that cycle. So let's make the best of it and see what type of dreamscapes we can co create. I appreciate all of you. Dee Dee, if you're still watching, thank you. Got you. My name is Ashley. Okay. Thank you, Ashley. Very cool. Yeah, definitely hit me up. Dee Dee, thank you for being here. Who else? Angela. I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for tuning in. I know you were there a while ago. Um, my sister, you're probably going to see this in the future. Sister, I love you. Thank you. I know, actually, my sister was just sending me messages before this session telling me that I should make my own app to help people record their dreams. And I just wanted to let you know, yes, there is a lot of apps out there like that. And you could just use the voice recorder on your phone. And maybe eventually, and I definitely do have some software creators that could definitely make me an app, but that's going to take some resources and a little bit of money. And right now, I'm trying to focus on like the merchandise. So definitely can help in many ways. I know how to open them and help activate kindling Kundalini. I think you mean that's cool. Very cool. Didi, you have to go to work. You're already 1 hour late. Oh wow. Thank you. See you. Peace out. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. That's awesome. I have to wake up in just a couple hours and go help someone with a roofing job. Not necessarily just doing it for the money. I just want to help the guy out. Uh, I'd rather have the day off. I got a lot to do, but it's all good. Thank you, Didi. Thank you. These topics were partially inspired by you too. So thank you, Ashley. I should say. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Didi. Anyone else who tunes in the future, thank you. I appreciate all of you beautiful souls. Definitely anyone who's interested, check out my video on sacred geometry and the nature of reality, because that's probably the best video that relates to this one and a lot of the concepts in this. But we talk a lot about it. We talk about the quantum physics, the astrophysics, and the metaphysics of all of this. So that's what this page is all about. Definitely check out D.K space dream space keeper on any platforms. And yeah, I appreciate all you people so much. Good night, everyone. Peace and love. How do I close this out? Okay.